Hey tech heads, Fina here. Let's talk about the car that's been making waves in the EV world, the BYD Dolphin. But before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at SAIC and hit that notification bell. We do have some great videos coming up and you don't want to miss those. Also, follow us on Twitter, that will also be at SAIC, for the latest and greatest news from the EV world. We post pretty much daily, well, numerous times a day, so if you follow us, you'll learn a lot. But anyways, everywhere you look these days, there's a buzz about the BYD Dolphin. Reviewers are calling it a game changer and a strong contender to the MG4. So today I want to delve in and take a closer look at why I'm not sure that will be the case just yet. First, let's look at design. So maybe design's not a huge deal to you, but consider this. What if the designer places the charging port in the front near the passenger? So I think this is just a weird placement. This means, at least in the EU version, if I pull up to a charging station that has that's on the driver's side, I'm gonna have to drag a dirty cable across the bonnet to charge. Now, is that appealing? I don't think so. This is a little bit better in the UK version because you're obviously going to have the steering wheel on the right side there, and the charging port does remain in the same spot. So in the UK version, at least you have it on the driver's side. But to me, it's just still a weird spot. Like, just look at how awkwardly it sits there. So here, I definitely have to give points to MG4. Their charging port is in the back behind the driver. To me, that's just a much more ideal and intuitive placement. So MG4 wins on that front. Now, as far as the overall design goes, I think the Dolphin is a pretty nice and standard hatchback. It's nothing super exciting, but it's a nice versatile design and I think it's pretty cute. Plus the Dolphin does have a rear wiper and I really like that. So I'll give the points to the Dolphin here over the MG4. Now let's take a look inside. So the Dolphin comes standard with a vegan leather interior, which I think gives it a nice and fairly luxurious feel. Personally, I do prefer the darker interior over the lighter one. So to me, the darker interior just looks fancier, plus I think it's more practical. And the lighter version has these silver buttons on the dash and the steering wheel that I just don't really like, so I prefer the black buttons in the darker version. Of course, this is just personal preference, so this one is mine, yours might be a little bit different. Overall, I would say that the interior design of the Dolphin is a bit more visually appealing than the MG4, but of course the devil is in the details, like those rotating roller buttons, which are again made from cheap materials, and apparently they're a bit on the loose side. So I'm actually not sure how I feel about these rotating roller buttons to begin with, but at least they're not touch controlled. So that is a plus. And how do you feel about the placement of this start button? Wait a minute, why does the BYD actually need a start button? An electric car like the MG4 doesn't actually need one, right? You can just hop in, put it in drive, and off you go. So the start button seems unnecessary. I think it's just a relic that keeps getting put back into the cars because we are used to it, but we don't need it anymore, so they could do away with it, I think. Overall, I would say that for the price point, the interior design of the Dolphin is fairly nice and pretty impressive. But what do you think? Which one do you like better? They're not. Next, let's look at infotainment. So the Dolphin comes with a massive, almost 13-inch display. Now, sources say it's between 12.6 to 12.8 inches, but you know how it is. BYD will probably tell you it's definitely almost 13. But anyway, the way it works with the display is you have a button on your steering wheel and you can flip it from either landscape to portrait mode or vice versa. So that's definitely one thing that is unique in the BYD cars. They do have this rotatable display. That's pretty cool, I think, but I've been thinking about this, if it actually has practical applications or if it just has that, ooh, wow, cool factor. And I've come to the conclusion that it definitely can be useful. I'm sure there are times when it's much more comfortable to have your information displayed in portrait mode. Other times you will prefer landscape. It ultimately comes down to whether the display rotation is, configured the right way, whether it has been implemented correctly. Because I was watching a video where they were testing this out in the BYD Auto 3, And what they did there is they flipped the display from landscape to portrait, which is cool, but all of the information on the screen remained in landscape mode. Which means in order to actually, read what you want, you would have to put your head this way. That's not cool, that's not comfortable, no one's gonna do that. So if they get that figured out in the Dolphin, which I would hope they would, then I can see it being a cool feature. Until then, I think it is just a gimmick, but we will see. I'm sure that they are working hard on it. Next good thing to know is that the Dolphin will not come with Android Auto right off the bat. So it comes with Apple CarPlay, and then Android Auto should be installed with an over-the-air update. But as to when that's going to happen, your guess is as good as mine. Taking a look at the boot or the trunk, the Dolphin is going to come with a 345-liter boot, and that does come with an adjustable floor as standard. So I think that's pretty okay, and I do like the fact that the adjustable floor is there. Now, the MG4 does offer a larger boot that's going to be 363 liters, but here you can only get the adjustable floor in the trophy or luxury version. Now, neither one of them has a frunk, which I think is just a missed opportunity. One of the most innovative features of the Dolphin is going to be the Blade Battery. So the Blade Battery has actually been making quite an impression on the EV industry thanks to the safety, the durability, and the good performance. And it can even withstand the nail penetration test, which, as you may know, is the Mount Everest of battery safety tests. So that is wonderful. The Blade Battery is cobalt-free, and it uses lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, as its cathode material. Now, LFP batteries are known for their thermal stability, so this makes them a safer option than the conventional lithium-ion batteries. But safety and durability are not the only benefits of the Blade Battery. It also excels in performance and delivers high power density and ultra-low energy consumption. So, while the Dolphin presents some other intriguing aspects that make it stand out from other EVs, to me, this Blade Battery is really the unique selling point. But is it going to be enough to outshine the MG4? Well, I guess only time will tell. Like the Auto 3, the Dolphin is built on BYD's Intelligent e-Platform 3.0, which maximizes efficiency and integrated vehicle intelligence. BYD's 8-in-1 powertrain integrates a vehicle control unit, a battery management system, power distribution unit, drive motor, a motor controller, transmission, a DC-DC converter, and an onboard charger. Now, thanks to this integration, they're actually able to achieve a system efficiency of 89%, which I would say is pretty impressive. A heat pump is standard in the Dolphin, as is an 11 kilowatt AC charger. Now here, BYD boasts of the industry first cooling and heating system for power batteries, which increases the thermal management efficiency by up to 15% in the winter. So the system leverages heat from the surroundings, from the powertrain, the passenger compartment, and even the batteries to give you 15% more range in the winter. It is designed to withstand even extreme weather conditions, and as such should deliver a wonderful driving range even in the winter, no matter where you are. Alright, looking at performance and range, I'll start with performance. So BYD has decided to introduce the Dolphin to the European market in the higher version first. Now, this is presumably so they can stay competitive with the likes of MG4, because the Dolphin in the base version only has a 45 kilowatt hour battery, and that's not even usable capacity, a 60 kilowatt motor, and it goes 0 to 60 in about 10.9 seconds. So you can imagine this would look quite sad next to MG4 on the European market. So Dolphin has decided that they're gonna roll out the higher version first. Now this one's going to be a front wheel drive. It has a 150 kilowatt motor and 60 kilowatt hour LFP battery, so that's definitely sounding a lot better. It goes 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7 seconds, and the top speed is 160 kilometers per hour. Now I don't actually know what the top speed is on the base version, but considering we're not getting it right now anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. Now, as always, we have to also look at price. So looking at all the features of the starting European version of the Dolphin, it might be more apt to compare, the Dolphin to the MG4 LR or the luxury version. I mean, the MG4 SE does not have quite as many features, but the price is still what keeps it interesting. But I'm just going to go ahead and go through all the prices here so that you can kind of decide for yourself what's more important to you, if you're more focused solely on price, or if you're going to try to find a nice combination of a reasonable price and reasonable amount of features. So let's take a look at all of them. Now, the expected, but as of now unconfirmed price for the Dolphin entering the European market is going to be €30,000 and £30,000. So that's a nice even number, but we shall see what the reality is. As far as the MG4 SE goes, or the standard range version, it's going to be starting at £26,995 or €32,312. So as you can tell, that's a difference of approximately £3,000 or €2,300. But again, keep in mind we are at this point comparing the very base version of the MG4 with the starting version of the Dolphin, which is a little bit higher. Let's also touch upon safety. So the safety data for the BYD Dolphin is not available quite yet, but the previous model, the BYD Auto 3, achieved a 5-star crash test rating with a 91% driver protection. So that's an excellent score. Now the MG4 has a nice 83% for the adult occupant protection. The BYD Dolphin is expected to perform better both than the MG4 and the BYD Auto 3 in this regard. Ultimately, I do think the BYD Dolphin brings some interesting aspects to the table, and it will definitely be an interesting car to watch. But is it going to crush the MG4? I'm not sure we can decide that just yet. I do think it's still up in the air. In terms of power and performance, I think both cars are pretty even keel. But in the MG4, I definitely prefer the rear-wheel drive. I feel like that just gives the car a more powerful drive feel. That is just a personal preference. I also definitely like the charging port on the MG4 a lot better. It seems like a lot better place to put it. In the Dolphin, I do like the rear wiper, as well as the interior. The interior does look a bit fancier to me. Again, I don't know about those roller buttons, but who knows? I've never tried them out, so maybe they're amazing. Probably not. But as I said, I do think it's still up in the air. I think it's a topic that I'll definitely return to and update. I think ultimately it's going to come down to what the price versus, ultimate product finality is like. It's also going to depend on what the car actually feels like when you sit in it, how it feels to drive it, because as much as we talk about performance, features, all that stuff, I think until you try it for yourself, you don't actually know. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if the Dolphin sounds interesting to you or if the MG4 is still a clear winner. If you like our content, please consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't done so already. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. Also, follow us on Twitter, which will also be @SAIC. We post daily news from the world of electromobility, so good stuff there. And, hit like, share, subscribe, comment, all of the good stuff. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you next time.